Well, as you can see guys, we have 7 of the master modules have now been adapted. They've had the circuit boards removed from them and we'll have just cables put into their place. And now we're about to move on to the slave modules. And to do that, we're doing what I was hemming and hawing about doing. We're just going to cut up the loom. This is the loom out of the eGolf. We're going to cut all of the slave connectors, put them in like that, and crimp on some ends. Now what I'm not going to do is to put that in there, plug it in, and then cut those wires. If I was to just cut straight into these wires, I would short out these cells and cause a very big flash. Right, there we go. There's all of the BMS connections plus a couple of the other ones. Now these are possibly BMS feeds from one BMS to the other, from one module to the other. I'm not sure, but very similar connectors. The only difference is this one has a little nodule there and there, and this one had it there and there, so it's a slightly different position. So all I did was to cut off that one, and then some of the positions of the pins were slightly different as well. So really simple to change the position of a pin. All you need to do is to slide something into there and there. Basically pop that open that way and that way. You can see this one hasn't been closed. So pop it open and then just a pin or something on the spring to pull that out. It's very easy to move. So just close that up again. There you go. So those are now, the wires are in the correct positions, and okay, there's one of the guide pins is missing, but they still fit into the sockets, no problem, so they'll be fine. And you probably also noticed that some of them have 6 wires and some have 4 wires. Well, it's pretty simple. Some of them are for the 4S modules and some for the 2S modules. So what I need to do now is to replicate that with all of these. Right guys, so I'm making up these short tails because I want to be able to make a loom that I can use in the house for testing purposes, and then keep it nice and simple so that all I need to do then is to make another external loom to put it into the car. At the moment, because I don't know exactly where all of the battery modules are going to go in the car, there's no way that I can make up a loom that will be exactly correct until I'm actually putting it into the car. So my theory is, if I do this is the original connection. This is a connection that I can buy lots of spare sockets for. There's one there. So I can just make up a loom for the house for testing purposes, and then when I come to put it in the car, it's nice and easy for me to remake the loom using these connections. So this is going to be from battery module number 5. Hopefully you can see that. And what I'm doing is I have this made up so that battery module number 1, 2, 3 and 4, they're already, I've already got tails made up for them, or they were the master modules which are hardwired in. And what I'm about to make up is number 5. So I can see there that battery module number 5 has 4 cells, and they will be labelled 15, 16, 17 and 18. The purpose for this was so that I would know exactly what module, what each of the modules is, how many cells is in it, and what the cell numbers are. Whenever I first took apart the battery modules for the Volkswagen eGolf, I made up this diagram, and this shows, this is the original battery modules in the eGolf battery pack and all numbered. So what I've done is I've decided just to keep that numbering convention, transfer it to my new pack, and then just at the bottom add an extra 2 4S modules. For battery module number 5, I need labels 15, 16, 17 and 18. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the labels, these are little PVC labels that you can get off eBay. These are really handy, and what I plan to do once I get them on, just to hold them in position, is to use some clear heat shrink like this. Just put clear heat shrink around it, shrink it on, and then those will not move around. They move around a little bit, but not too bad. So I'll go ahead and do that, but I've already metered out and checked out and double checked the way that these little connectors are all wired, and all of them are wired the same. This is for one of the 4S modules, and this is for one of the 2S modules. But the positions for the temperature sensors are the same. These twisted wires are the temperature sensors, and the same with this, temperature sensors. And the position of the first battery positive and the second battery positive are in the same position in both. The only difference is this then has 2 more. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get these, figure out which of these cables is first pause, second pause, third pause and fourth pause, and obviously that's critical so that we don't end up blowing up the BMS, and then get the labels on and get the crimps put on. So in this case we are going 15, 16, 17, 18. So first pause is pin number 7, which is this one. And just to stop them falling off, I'll put on the little seal for these connectors. These connectors I'm using are, I wouldn't say waterproof, but they're certainly water resistant, and they have a little seal on each of the cables. Second positive, this is just a diagram I made up of the pin outs for these connectors. So the first positive is this one, which goes to pin 7. Second positive is pin 3. So the way it works is the bottom holes are pins 1, 2, 3 to 5, and then the top holes are 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So the third one from the right is pin 3, and it will be number 16. Put that on there. The third positive is cable number 8. Cable number 8 is this one. So the fourth positive will be 17. So that's all of the labels put onto this particular connector. So now what I'm going to do is strip the ends and put the pins on. This is a very handy cable stripper. You just, I'll show you, Hopefully you can see that. You put that in and it just pulls them off. Nice and handy. Now, I'll just do this one so that you can see what I'm at. Slightly long still. These crimps come along with a, as you can see, hopefully you can see that. Come with a set of crimpers. Now you have to have the correct crimpers for these crimps. I was trying to use the wrong size crimpers and it was just destroying them. So make sure you get the right size crimpers, and in this case it's 24 to 22 gauge. With this particular wire, I've noticed that if I just put that in and crimp it, it can pull out. There's not that much strength. So what I'm doing is I'm folding it over before I put it into the crimp, and that way it crimps really securely. There's no issue with that pulling out at all. It's kind of difficult to do. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. Take your crimps, put them on, and just squeeze it in. And there you go. That's it, nicely crimped, and there's no way you'll never pull that out. Once you've done that, then just slide the I forgot to put the rubber thing on first. I forgot to put that on first. Anyway, just slide that up and I'll do it now. So once you've done that, then just push your little rubber seal in like so. And then take your crimps, turn around the other way and use that end. Just squeeze that in. Hopefully you can see what's going on there. Give that a squeeze, and there you can see you've got a nice crimp with a seal on it, that the seal doesn't move when you go to push it into your connector. And that's it, crimped, and you're not going to pull that out. Now if I hadn't folded the conductor over before I put it into that crimp, it would pull out relatively easily. I guess it's just the size of the wires that I'm crimping. But it's something to bear in mind. If you're using a crimp instead of a solder, it's not so easy to confirm whether or not you have done a good job. When you're soldering, you can see the solder flowing. You can give it a pull. It's very easy to see that you've done a good job and that it's nice and secure. But when you're crimping, it's not so easy to know if it's secure or not. You really have to give it a good tug to confirm it. Anyway, I'll go ahead and get the rest of these all crimped, and then we'll put them into the connector. I'll show you that when I get them all done. In theory, crimping is much better and more secure than soldering, because solder will tend to break. Solder connections will tend to fail with a lot of vibration, but they're only better if the crimps are secure. And when I was first started doing this, the crimps were just not secure. They just kept pulling out, and it wasn't until I folded the conductor that I got a secure crimp. So what I'll do is I'll make a list, or I'll post in the description below where you can buy the tools, the connectors and the crimp tool. When I first started using these connectors, I actually just soldered the pins on, but crimping is much more convenient. Okay, so in this case we are 15 is the first one. So to put these in, you just pull out the red bit in the end of the connector and put them the right way up, which in this case is like that, and just slide. Make sure you're putting in this pin 1 first of all. Make sure you're in the right one. Just slide it in and it just clicks in. To take that out. Ah, I just put that in the wrong one. Well, thankfully, guys, we managed to stop cocking up after only doing 3. Oh, I don't know what I was thinking about. I was supposed to be putting these connectors on. Instead, I put these connectors on. What a pillock. Oh well. I'll just cut these off and just put the other ones on. It's not a major disaster. Thankfully, I ordered a pile of extra pins. You can get these pins from AliExpress, and I'll put links down in the description to where you can get them in the description. You can buy the connectors on eBay, but they're a wee bit on the expensive side by comparison to AliExpress. Yes, you have to wait a while for them to arrive. Usually anything up to a month, I guess. But it's worth it because they are good. These cutters, by the way, are also particularly good. Bergenom, something like that. I've bought these a couple of times now. Obviously, it doesn't matter how good they are; they don't last forever. But these ones are reasonably cheap. The tip's broken off that one. Still works though. Reasonably cheap, but very good quality and last better than most of the cheaper ones you can buy on eBay. So if I can find the link for them, I will post it in the description below. So there'll be lots of links in the description, and those links, by the way, guys, are affiliate links, which means that if you click on the link and then make a purchase, I will get a few cents. It's not very much of commission, but I mean, if lots of people do it, it adds up, and I end up getting a few dollars each month from eBay. So it kind of makes it worth doing, and it helps to fund the videos as well. Making videos is very time consuming. Bother, there was another one. Making videos is very time consuming and is not easy. It takes a lot of work, and it's nice if there's some kind of payback at the end of it. So you get some sort of, I get a little bit of money for the advertising that's on the videos from eBay, or sorry, from YouTube, and like I said, a few dollars a month from eBay and AliExpress and Amazon, believe it or not. So it's not a lot, but it's a little. It helps. Right, guys, well, as you can see, there has been a huge amount of procrastination and a fair bit of work, but we have finally got to the stage where I have BMS connections for every module. is some of the modules, the BMS connection is on the back. The rest of them are all on the front here. So there's BMS connections for every module. Every BMS connection gives the module number, as in that is module number 28. And in module number 28 we have cell numbers 89, 90, 91 and 92. Now the purpose of getting all of that information is so that when I dig out the Nissan Leaf BMS, I can now make a loom up to connect all of these modules directly to the Nissan Leaf BMS. And then the plan after that is to get the Nissan Leaf BMS wired in such a way that we can use it for charging these modules, and the DC to DC converter will work, so we'll get the 12 volt battery will charge. I have a couple of things. I'm still waiting for delivery of a couple of bits and pieces, but hopefully when that comes, or when the last bits come, we will be able to get this all done. What we currently have is the bottom left, I'm just going to sit down here because I'm old and tired. Bottom left module is the most positive, so it is module number 1, and they go along the bottom to there, comes up to this module, and then goes along there, and the power then comes up to this module and goes along there, and then comes up to this module and along to here till this is the most negative. Now originally in the Volkswagen Golf, originally this module number 27, as you can see, was the most negative, but because I've added 2 more modules, then this one is now the most negative, module number 29. So we have 29 modules, 96 cells, and currently we have 354.3 volts. So I need to be careful. This bites very, very hard. So don't worry, before I leave this room I will be taking out probably a cable here and here and here and here and here and here to try and break up the voltage. I will not be leaving this unattended with 350 volts. That would be criminally negligent if I did that. So I will not be doing that. So that is the status where we are at the moment. I now need to get the opposing, the female or male connections that match these, crimp ends onto them and get them onto the Nissan Leaf BMS. So a lot of work still to do, but at least I can see that I'm making some progress. Of course it may not work when I'm finished, but well, the thing is, all of this work has not been in vain, because to get any BMS to work I needed a way to connect to each module, and this was how I figured out it would be the best way to do it, where I could put it into the office and do testing, and then move it into the car and connect it up. It seemed to be the best way. I had no way of knowing how long all the wires needed to be in the car, so there was no point in trying to build the final wiring loom for the BMS at this stage. it's going to have to be done when it's in the car, and I know the length of all the wires and all of that sort of thing. So for testing purposes, this is what I came up with. A lot of work just for testing, but I guess it's important to confirm that it actually works. So anyway, that's where we are at the moment. When I get a bit more work done, I shall come back and show you the next step.